One of the best ways a visual novel stands out among its peers is via a distinctive art style, where it's the signature art style from legendary illustrators like Kitaro Inoue, 2D pixel art from English language visual novels like Read Only Memories, a full-on 3D art style like Two Heart Remake, or the many other visual novel art styles. These all reflect the diversity of the medium. Then there's the more realistic Gothic art style most associated with the house in Fata Morgana. Therefore, when MAGES announced Iwakura Aria for Nintendo Switch in early 2024, fans immediately made comparisons to Novectical's cult classic. So what about Iwakura Aria? Does it hold its own among its fellow visually distinctive peers outside of its art style, including Fata Morgana? Yes, it does, and in this video I'm going to explain why. Anyway, thank you to PQube for providing me with a review code for this game on the Steam Deck, so let's get straight into it. Iwakura Aria tells the story of a mysterious girl called, well, Aria Iwakura, hence the game's name. Set in Japan in 1966, Aria lives with her father, Amane, in a mysterious Western-style manor. They need to hire a new maid to help them out with the mansion's various tasks. One day, Amane encounters Ichiko Kitagawa, an adoptee passionate about illustration. Amane senses Ichiko's talent, invites her to come work for him at their manor over the summer of 1966. Ichiko, seeking a place to belong after a difficult childhood, accepts his offer, thus beginning this game's story. Although Aria is the title character of this game, this story is mostly told through Ichiko's perspective. There are occasional monochrome comic books and MVL segments told through the perspective of other characters, and while they're quite brief, their presence aids immersion and always serves a purpose within the game's story. Writer Nemuru Gogo worked on Iwakura Aria's story after previously working on B project Ryusei Fantasia with MAGES back in 2021. Directors Ayano Ishikawa and Eriko Mizuna coordinated this work, whose previous credits include Steins Gate Zero and Genzen Manake. It's safe to conclude Iwakura Aria was developed by an experienced team. This experience bleeds into the game's presentation. Simply put, I love this game's art style. Iwakura Aria's world and characters are illustrated by 100 Years. Yes, that's their actual name. A popular Japanese artist whose visual debut is Iwakura Aria. The more realistic artistic direction is memorable and beautiful to look at. Each character portrait and background asset has a lot of work put into them, and it really shows. As mentioned earlier, the monochrome art direction for the comic book sections not only helps them stand out, but also further adds to the tension and suspense that permeates these scenes. Speaking of colour and life, Iwakura Aria includes many CGs to complement key scenes, further increasing the emotional impact of this game's story. And while I do love the CGs, I wish there were more of them. The art is just so good. Another criticism I have is that many of the side characters, such as the gardener, don't have their own character portraits. Some of them do play a key role within Iwakura Aria's story, so it's a bit weird to only read text from them. They are fully voiced however, much like all the other characters, which I truly appreciate. As for the music, Takeshi Abo handled the soundtrack. He's very well known within the visual community, and I already talked about his work in previous videos. Iwakura Aria's soundtrack is on par with its other compositions, capturing the many emotional moments required to carry this game's story. Iwakura Aria is not a long game. It takes around a dozen hours to complete the game and view all its endings, in part thanks to its linear structure. Throughout your playthrough, you can sometimes select between two different choices. Some of these don't affect the game at all, while others branch off from the main story. You will want to watch all the endings as they contain plot twists and revelations relating to other characters. Plus, if you're playing on Steam Deck or PC elsewhere, come with their own achievements. Though worth adding, to get the last achievement you will need to read the mini side story that unlocks after completing the true ending, as otherwise you will miss it. Iwakura Aria's story juggles a lot of themes and tonal shifts, and I'd say it balances them pretty well. On the one hand, you have the more light-hearted Yuri scenes between Ichiko and Aria, which are wholesome to read. In these scenes, you see Aria and Ichiko's relationship develop, alongside their interactions with other characters like kitchen attendant Sui Miyoshi. On the other hand, you have the far more anxiety-inducing suspense scenes, as Ichiko begins to piece together the overarching mystery behind her employers. These mysteries are twofold, both the overarching story and the individual character quirks. Starting with the overarching story, Ichiko soon suspects something isn't right regarding Aria and Amane's world. The story of the Iwakura mansion contains many disturbing and gory secrets, often coming out of left field. Each day in the Iwakura household is different, much like your average housekeeping shift. Quite fitting to experience this story from a maid's perspective in summer 1966. Suspense in the visual world also relies on capturing a feeling of anxiety, which Iwakura Aria captures very well. This game is hard to read, with its many suspense scenes genuinely disturbing and heartbreaking in equal measure. Ichiko can, and will, discover nasty surprises just around the corner, with these scenes being perfect for the suspense genre. As for the characters, both Aria and Ichiko are given ample time to grow as people. Aria herself is an enigma at the start of the game. Her complex personality becomes clear the more she opens up to Ichiko throughout the story. Meanwhile, Ichiko is forced to confront her insecurities and immaturity as she discovers the cold hard reality of the Iwakura family. Aria and Ichiko's bond is based on a mutual desire to understand each other, both as friends and later lovers. Worth noting though is Iwakura Aria is not just a Yuri or suspense visual novel, it's an utsuge, in other words a depressing game. The art style already suggests Iwakura Aria may be part of this subgenre, but any lingering doubts this game isn't an utsuge fade early on. Ichigo herself has depression and struggles with self-loathing and doubts about what she's capable of thanks to her childhood. And all of this is quite clear from the game's start, it's not a spoiler. Depressed protagonists usually set the tone for the entire game, whether it's in more graphic, triggering works like Ceres from Verge Evermore, or more emotionally dramatic works like Haruki from White Album 2. Ichiko's depiction of depression is both fascinating and unique, and her story is one I recommend experiencing for yourself. This game does have a lot of YouTube video essay potential, and as I'm embargoed, you're not getting a long video essay this time. Video essay potential also means discussing something videos would need right at the start of said video: trigger warnings. Iwakura Aria's dark themes ensure this game is quite triggering at times, even mentioning some of the below may be considered plot spoilers, but I give no detail, so please skip to the next timestamp if you don't need or want a trigger warning list. With that said, let's get straight into it. Depression, anxiety, trauma, child abuse, sexual assault, blood, gore, murder, body horror, religion, sacrifice, addiction, violence, choking, death. And some of these are also depicted within the CGs. A few more bits of technical information before we wrap up. MAGES developed Iwakura Aria on the in-house engine, so it works perfectly fine on Steam Deck, complete with achievements as I mentioned earlier. Moreover, because MAGES originally published this game on Switch, I assume the game runs fine there. PQube's localization and QA are both well done on this PC version. There are a few spacing errors, but they're so few and far between that they are not a deal breaker at all, and I'm certain MAGES will patch these out at some point in the future. Although, fun little side note, both the Western Switch release and worldwide PC versions support Japanese text alongside English, which is an increasing trend with MAGES console releases. And to address the Fata Morgana comparison, if you're a fan of Fata Morgana, you'll likely become a fan of Iwakura Aria too. And yes, while there are similarities in its presentation and themes, Iwakura Aria is very much its own thing. However, much like Fata Morgana, Iwakura Aria's strong utsuge vibes, alongside its triggering content, means I advise you ensure you're in the right headspace before reading this game. To give my final thoughts, Iwakura Aria is an intriguing visual novel that I recommend checking out if it interests you. Aria and Ichiko's dynamic is both fascinating and complex. The medium length makes this game more palatable for backlog conscious gamers, and the presentation is absolutely gorgeous. It's beautifully dark, queer and intriguing in its own way, and will likely become one of MAGES' more underappreciated works. Anyway, thanks again to PQube for sending me a review code. I've left affiliate links to the Nintendo Switch physical edition if you're interested in picking this game up for yourself down below, alongside a link to the game's Steam page. There's no limited edition outside of Japan, and the Japanese limited edition does not have English. Anyway, thank you so much everyone. Please like, comment, subscribe, algorithm boosting stuff, etc. Consider becoming a channel member if you can afford to and want to do so. Anyway, thank you so much everyone. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.